Today we will discuss about this topic. See, this is single phase semi-controlled. So this is single phase semi-controlled converter of DC separately excited motor. Okay, so it means you are controlling. You are controlling the controlling a motor is nothing but controlling its speed and torque. Okay, so you are controlling the speed or torque, or you are controlling the a separately excited DC motor with the help of a single phase semi controlled converter. Okay, so if you recall what is this single phase semi controlled converter, it's a this one is a rectifier. Okay, it's a rectifier. Okay, so now anyhow you know very well that your DC motor requires a DC supply only. So from this title you can understand this thing that you are getting DC supply to the armature of separately excited DC motor through single phase semi controlled converter. So this is the topic. So for this topic, now, yeah, what is the so what is the circuit diagram I will draw now? Okay, this is the motor, and it is armature of the motor. Okay, so now whereas this is the field, this is the field. Okay, now both, this is a separately excited motor, so both armature and field do not have any kind of connection. Okay, so now you see here, so you are getting the supply to the field from a separate source. Okay, so this source is not connected here, whereas the armature, now what I'm interested here right now is that uh, you know in the machines that the armature of the DC motor will have some resistance. Okay, and also it has some inductance. I hope everyone know this thing that this is RA, this is LA. Okay, so the armature has, so the DC motor can be represented like this. The armature of the DC motor can be represented like this, that it has a resistor and inductor in series with the armature, and here the EMF induced, this part is the back EMF EB. Okay, and the current flowing into this here is the armature current IA. Okay, so I hope everyone know this thing that the armature of the DC motor has a resistance RA and an inductance LA. Okay, this is the leakage inductance. I hope you know this thing. Okay, because it's a winding, so winding, every winding, because the armature is nothing but, even armature or field, they are nothing but winding, so every winding has some resistance and some inductance. That is the logic. Apart from that, as it is a motor, so motor in the sense a running winding, you see here two things are there here. So a winding, I will tell here, a winding, so winding is nothing but something like this, it's a winding. So this winding, if you draw the equivalent circuit, or if you draw the electrical equivalent of this winding, what do you find out is that you will find out a resistor, an inductor, and some back EMF also you will find out. Because this back EMF come into force in case of the motor, because in case of the motor that winding is rotating, in case of the motor. So we have seen earlier the operation of the motor, that in the motor you have a back EMF EB. Okay, if it is not rotating, okay, if it is not rotating, then you will not have this EB, only you will have R and L. So this is how you represent any winding. So any winding can be represented like R, L, E. This is R, this is L, this is E. E is the back EMF. R you can represent it as R, L. So which case you will get E is that you will get E in case of the DC motor. because in case of the DC motor, the winding is in the armature. We have undergone the principle of your DC motor. In the DC motor, you will find out this back EMF. So you got RLE. So you replace the motor with RLE, or sometimes you replace with RL where there is no back EMF. Okay. Now coming to our case, that this is a separately excited DC motor. So the field winding is getting excitation or getting supply from separate source, whereas the armature is getting some other source. So as the armature, you can represent like RLE. Just now I have shown you here. R is the armature resistance, LA is the armature inductance, and EB is the back EMF. Okay. So now the supply, that's what I'm saying, that this is the motor. Now we have drawn the motor symbol. This is the motor. Now this motor, okay, this motor is getting supply. This motor is, so because this is a DC, so you must get a DC here. So you must get a DC supply here. So how you are getting the DC supply is that in this particular topic, you are getting the DC supply through a single phase semi-controlled converter. Okay. So what is a single phase?
Sir,
Yes, yes.
for DC inductance ఉంటుందా సార్? ఇండక్టివ్ రియాక్టెన్స్ జీరో కదా సార్?
Yes, please tell.
డీసీ
DC?
సప్లైలో డీసీ సప్లైలో ఇండక్టివ్ రియాక్టెన్స్ని మనం జీరోగా తీసుకుంటాం కదా సార్?
Yeah,
అంటే
in case of, yeah, that's correct. Okay, whatever you said, it is correct. But here, it is, it is running here. The motor is running here. You must understand this thing, that whatever you said, it is correct, that this inductance effect will not be there. See, inductance is not there. That's not correct. Inductance effect will not be there in case of DC. So there is a difference between whether inductor is absent or inductor effect is absent. Inductor is present, but inductor effect is absent in case of DC. But what you will understand here is that you recall yourself, in the DC motor, the EMF induced in the DC motor is the EMF AC EMF or DC EMF?
ఏసీఎంఎస్.
Yeah, AC EMF. So when you have AC, then definitely the effect of this inductor will be present or not.
ఎస్ సార్, ఇట్ విల్ ఎగ్జిస్ట్.
Yeah, so that's the reason that we put the LA here. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
So got it now?
ఎస్ సార్.
Okay. Okay. Uh, then we'll see now here. See this now. So once we represent the motor with RLE, R is the resistance of the armature, LA is the inductance, EB is the back EMF. Okay. So this is the motor. So now you have to give the DC supply to the motor. So how you are giving the DC supply is that you are not giving directly. You are not giving directly DC supply, but you are giving through a converter. Why you are giving it through a converter is that so that you can control the speed. That we will slowly see how you can control. If you give the supply through a converter, how you can control the motor, that we will see. So the purpose of using the single phase semi controlled converter here is that to control the speed and torque of the motor. That is the purpose. So I will draw now the semi controlled converter. Okay, so I hope you might have remember this thing, the single phase semi controlled converter, the circuit diagram of that. Okay. So okay, so these two are thyrisors, whereas these two are diodes. That is the reason we call it as semi controlled. Okay. And apart from that, you have a freewheeling diode. Just recall yourself, this is freewheeling diode. So freewheeling diode is also present here. Okay. I hope you might have known in the power electronics what is the purpose of freewheeling diode. The purpose of freewheeling diode is that, so when the switches are off, generally you will use this freewheeling diode whenever the load is inductive load. Okay, if it is not inductive load, you don't require this freewheeling diode, because if you have the inductive load, the current present or the energy present in the inductor will circulate through the freewheeling diode when the switches are off or when there is no excitation connected. Okay, so you have a freewheeling diode. So now you see here, the source is a AC source, and you are giving this AC source, okay, to a single phase semi controlled converter, and from the output of the semi controlled converter you are giving to the motor. Okay, this is what exactly you are doing here. Okay, so why can't you give the direct DC supply here? Because if you give direct DC supply, how do you control the motor? The purpose here is to control the motor. To control the motor, you are connecting a converter. So if you have a converter, how do you control? Simple thing, that you have the thyristors here. Two thyristors are there. So you change the firing angle of the thyristor. So when you change the firing angle of the thyristor, everyone you have studied in the power electronics that when you change the firing angle of the thyristors, the output voltage of the converter will change. So when the output voltage of the converter is changing, it means the voltage going to the motor is changing. So when the voltage going to the motor is changing, it means its speed and torque will definitely change. So this is the logic behind here. Okay, so for this logic, and this is the circuit diagram. Okay, now we will draw some waveforms, okay, required here. Okay, this is supply voltage. Okay, this is supply voltage. So the voltage across this we will write as VA. Why I'm giving VA is the VA is nothing but the terminal voltage of the motor. That is armature. We can say armature voltage because armature itself has RLE. So we can say this thing, that because this RLE will not be seen outside. It's just only the relation, electrical relation only. So RLE is there. So the voltage that is the output of your converter is nothing but the armature voltage. We can say like this: the output of the converter is nothing but the armature voltage, because the output of the converter is directly connected to your armature. So this is VA. So now we want to draw the waveform of VA, so that from there itself we will go ahead to the motor. So first I will draw the waveform of VA. The purpose of drawing VA is to examine the effect of this VA on the performance of the motor. That is the purpose. Okay, so how to draw VA is that first I will draw the supply voltage, that is VS. Okay, this is supply voltage waveform. Okay, okay, so this is only one cycle. Okay, so here is 0, this is pi, it is 2 pi. Okay, this is your supply waveform. So now before we draw the waveform of VA, we will briefly understand the operation of this. What is the operation of this now? So I will give here some names. I will give here. This is T1, thyristor number 1. This is T2, and this is diode D2, and this is diode D1. Okay. So first I will fire thyristor number 1 during the positive half cycle. This is the positive half cycle. So during the positive half cycle of the supply, we will fire thyristor number 1. So when we fire thyristor number 1, what is the current flow? The current flow will be like this: through your supply, okay, then through the thyristor T1, then after that it will travel like this, and it will enter into the motor. Then once it enters into the motor, okay, so this is the motor. So motor supply, so it flows like this. Then after that it will enter into D2. It will enter into D2, then it will go like this. So it makes a closed path. So the path here during the positive half cycle of the source, that is Vs, the path here is that T1, then after T1, okay, T1, okay, then I will write here motor T1, after that motor, then D2. So your Vs will make the closed path through T1 motor D2. Then it makes a closed path. Okay. So now here, as it is a thyristor, it's a semi-controlled switch. So definitely you have to give the supply, or you have to give the firing angle at certain angle alpha. So I would like to give at certain angle alpha here. This is alpha. This is the location of alpha. So we'll draw the waveform here. Okay, before I draw further, I will. This is VA. the output of your converter or input to the armature. So before we draw VA here, so we would like to know few things that till alpha, okay, till alpha, okay, so till alpha, what will happen? So better I will draw here this side so that okay, now you see here till alpha, what is the status of the motor, that you must understand now. Here we take two, okay, two cases. One is continuous conduction, you might have already got these words, continuous conduction and discontinuous conduction. So you call this CCM, continuous conduction mode. This is DCM. So you have two conduction modes. One by one we'll take. So I hope you know what is continuous conduction mode. Continuous conduction mode in the sense, this inductor which is present here. You see the inductor here. This is the inductor. So this inductor the current in this inductor is always there. It means the current in the armature is always there. Whatever you do the switching here, T1, T2, whatever you do the changes in the converter here, the current in the inductor is always there. So the current in the inductor will never become zero. So that case you call it as a continuous conduction. Whereas discontinuous conduction in the sense, the current in the inductor will become for certain duration. For certain duration, the current in the inductor will become zero. In that case, the current in the armature will become zero. So that case you call it as a discontinuous conduction. Okay, so continuous conduction in the sense, simple thing, that there will be current in the armature always. That is, there will be current in the LA always. That is a continuous conduction. Discontinuous conduction in the sense, for a small duration, okay, in one cycle for a small duration, there won't be any current in the inductor, or there won't be any current in the armature. So there will be some discontinuity in the current. So that case you call it as a discontinuous conduction. Okay. So we will discuss both the cases. First, we will discuss the case of discontinuous conduction. We'll discuss this case first. Okay. So, first of all, you will have to understand when there will be discontinuous conduction. Okay. We will take something like this. How we will take is that first case. Okay. First interval. I will take first interval. Interval 1. Okay. We'll start from alpha. What is alpha here? Alpha is the firing angle at which you are firing. Alpha is the angle at which you are firing thyristor number 1. So we'll start with alpha. Okay, alpha. Then once you fire the thyristor number 1, just now I told you that what is the conduction path? The conduction path is through T1, through motor, and through D2. This is the conduction path. So better I will write here also T1, M means motor, as you must understand this thing, then D2. So this is the path. So T1, motor, and D2. So remaining all components will be off. So remaining all components is what are the left here? T2 thyristor, D1 diode, and freewheeling diode. All the three, so two diodes and one thyristor, all the three will be off. Only two switches are on, T1 and D2. So it makes a closed path through the motor. So this thing. Okay. So when this will continue, there is a question is that when this will continue. So if that is case, let me take the case here, alpha. Okay. What is the output voltage? The output voltage is the voltage here, whichever I have put here, VA, that is the output voltage. This one is the output voltage. So the voltage across these 2 points, is the output voltage. What is the output voltage when T1, D2 are conducting? Same as supply voltage. You just see apply KVL, then you will understand same as supply voltage. So what is the supply voltage at this interval? So then I will draw the waveform here. Okay. So The waveform is like this. But before I draw this waveform, let me go back once again. Okay, let me go back once again. So the voltage at VA, the voltage at VA will be how much? The voltage at VA will be same as supply voltage. It is same as supply voltage. So then I will draw a sub circuit here. I will draw a sub circuit here. So let me draw sub circuit here. The sub circuit is something like this, simple thing. This is sub circuit. This is motor. So the voltage here is EB, back EMF. Whereas the voltage here is now how much you got? Vs. I just now told you that when T1 and D2 are conducting, output voltage is same as supply voltage. So VA is equal to Vs. So when VA is equal to Vs, the voltage here is Vs. Now the current flowing here is IA, armature current. We will definitely get this question that when the current IA will flow, when can I say like this, that if you apply KVL here, you will easily understand when Vs is more than EB, when Vs is more than EB, then only there will be current in this direction. Why it is so? Because if Vs is not more than, so I will write here, Vs is greater than EB, greater than or equal to EB. So when Vs is greater than or equal to VB, then only there will be current in this path. Otherwise, the thyristors, even you fire the thyristors, even you fire the thyristor T1, there won't be any current. Why there won't be any current? Because the EB which is there here will reverse bias the thyristors T1 and the diode D2. So when you give the firing angle, always remember, when you give the firing angle alpha to the thyristor number T1, okay, wherever you give the firing angle, it's very important at that instant, the voltage, supply voltage should be more than the back EMF. If it is not more than back EMF, then thyristors and the diode will not conduct. So if we don't conduct, then the current in the motor is zero. So this is the logic before you give the firing angle to the thyristor number 1. Okay. Assume that I have given the firing angle to the thyristor T1 when the supply voltage is more than back EMF. So if it is true, then the output voltage is same as supply voltage. Then I will draw the output voltage waveform. So the output voltage waveform is same as supply voltage. So I will try to draw. Okay, I will try to draw the similar kind of waveform. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now you see here. So the Vs is more than back EMF, then only the thyristor T1 and DT will conduct. Okay, we will take that case that it is more than EB. Okay, that case the current will flow like this. So the current will flow like this. So this will continue till which point? It will continue till pi. It reaches pi. So when it reaches pi, what will happen after that? When it reaches pi? So
సార్
yeah, please.
ఇనిషియల్ దెర్ వోంట్ బి ఎనీ ఈబీ కదా సార్, అది మోటార్ స్టార్ట్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు.
Yeah, initially there won't be any EB, that's correct. Okay. Now the waveform which we are drawing is the steady state waveform. Okay.
ఓకే
So steady state waveform in the sense you understand that. So because initially there won't be any, okay, there won't be any, whatever is it is correct, there won't be any back EMF initially. But we will take the which case we are drawing now the waveforms is that for the steady state case, that in the steady state case what will happen now, initially there is no back EMF, so slowly the back EMF will increase. So after the back EMF has increased to the full value or its rated value, then after that after that what will happen, so that part we are studying. So steady state part we are studying, we are not studying the transient part. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay. Okay.
ఫ్రమ్ T2 ఆన్వర్డ్స్ బ్యాక్ ఈఎంఎఫ్ కమ్స్ ఇన్ టు పిక్చర్ సార్, అంటే అప్పటి నుంచి విఎస్ గ్రేటర్ దాన్ ఈబీ ఇచ్చుకుంటూ రావాలా సార్?
Yeah, see, yeah, I understood what you said. Okay, initially Vs is always greater than Eb because Eb is not there. Okay, so but we are discussing which case is that the case. Okay, uh, in the steady state. So steady state in the sense the motor is running with rated speed. Say for example, our motor is running with the speed which we want, or you can say the motor is running with some speed now. Say for example, with some speed motor is running. So from that point we are studying. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
So we are not studying the part from which the motor has started. No, that point we are not studying. We are studying from the motor is already running now. The motor is already running with some speed. So when it is running with some speed already, okay. So at that time you will have some back EMF. Am I correct or not?
ఎస్ సార్.
So that steady state part we are studying. We are not studying the starting point. Okay.
ఓకే
Transient part we are not studying. Okay. So it will have some back EMF. So the supply voltage should be more than the back EMF. Then only the thyristor T1 and D2 will conduct. So assume that I have given the firing angle by taking that point into consideration. Then once I give the firing angle, T1 D2 will conduct through the motor. So this will continue forever. Not forever. It will continue till pi. After pi, what will happen? That is the question. After pi, the supply voltage become negative. So the supply voltage become negative. So when the supply voltage become negative, what will happen? So the thyristor. So then okay, I will take another interval. So we will consider that as second interval. Why I am taking this is second interval? What is the reason that I am taking? Why not I continue further? Is that after pi, if you look at the circuit diagram, T1 D2 are there, supply voltage become negative after pi. So there is a very possibility that T1 D2 will get reverse bias because you are giving a negative voltage to your thyristor and diode. Okay, so there is a very possibility that T1 D2 may get reverse bias. But there is another inductor here. There is one inductor is here. What is that inductor? LA is there. So the current in the inductor will try to continue. That is the nature of inductor. So as it is continuing, it has a path through the freewheeling diode. So as it has a path through the freewheeling diode, there is no other option for T1 D2 other than turning off. If you don't have the freewheeling diode, then T1 D2 will conduct for some more time. But as you have the freewheeling diode, after pi, okay, after pi, this T1 D2 will turn off because the inductor will take a path through the freewheeling diode. That is the path. So T1 D2 will be off. So when T1 D2 off, we will go into the second interval. We will call that as second interval. What is the second interval here is that? What is second interval here? So the second interval will start from pi. It will start from pi as in omega t. So to some other value. We will find out what is that some other value. Slowly we'll find out. Okay, so you must understand here is that after pi, T1 D2 will be off. When T1 D2 are off and T2 I did not give any kind of firing angle, D1 is already off. So the supply voltage will be totally disconnected from the motor. So when the motor is disconnected from the supply, then how the current which is there in the inductor will flow? It will flow through the freewheeling diode. There is a freewheeling diode here. So what is the closed path in this second interval is now is freewheeling diode, okay, motor. That's it. This is the closed path. So through freewheeling diode, the motor will circulate, or the current in the motor will circulate through the freewheeling diode. So when the freewheeling diode is running, you see yourself, when the freewheeling diode is conducting, the freewheeling diode will behave as a short circuit. So if it is behaving as a short circuit, okay, then I would like to draw the circuit diagram here. Okay, so what you find out here is that, so now this case, supply is not connected, supply is not connected. So the freewheeling diode is conducting. So when the freewheeling diode is connected, it behaves as a short circuit. So I have drawn the short circuit here. So the voltage here is how much? 0 volts for the short circuit. So the current is flowing in this direction, and the back EMF is present here. That back EMF is, see, back EMF will be present. Why back EMF is present? Because as long as the motor is running, back EMF will be there, because back EMF depends upon the motor is running or not. If the motor is not running, back EMF will be 0. As the motor is running, back EMF will be there. So EB is there, and some current IA is flowing. Some current IA is flowing here. Okay. So in the second interval, that is after pi, your thyristors T1, D2 will be turned off, and the current in the armature will take a closed path through the freewheeling diode. When it is taking the closed path through the freewheeling diode, okay, the voltage across the diode will be 0. So the output voltage is 0. Okay. Now, so the output voltage is 0. So I will just draw the horizontal line here, just horizontal line, because the output voltage is 0. Now, this will continue for which time? That we have to examine. It will continue till you give the firing angle to thyristor number 2, because there is another set is there, T2 and D1. There is another set is there, that is T2 and D1. So till T2 D1, till you give the firing angle to T2, okay, so this will continue, or this may not continue. There are two cases. If it is continuous conduction, that's the continuous conduction. Discontinuous conduction will come into force here. Okay, so I will repeat once again that in the second interval, the second interval will start from pi. When the second interval starts from pi, the inductor current or the motor current will circulate through the freewheeling diode. So when it is circulating through the freewheeling diode, the energy which is present will slowly decrease. Why it will slowly decrease? Because now it is discharging, because there is no supply connected, so it will discharge. So when the energy is discharging, this discharge will continue for some more time. So now here comes two options, till which time it will continue. Whether it will continue till you give the signal to the second thyristor, or it will continue, or it will die before you give the firing angle to the second thyristor. So once again I will tell that the energy in the inductor will circulate through the motor, or the energy in the motor will circulate through the freewheeling diode. So it will continue for some interval or for some time. So which time it is? Till you have another set is thyristor is there. So you have to give the firing angle to the thyristor. So till you give the firing angle to the thyristor, it will continue or not. If it continues till you give the firing angle to the second thyristor, it is called continuous conduction. If the energy dissipate before you give the firing angle to the second thyristor, before itself only it dissipate, then you call that as a discontinuous conduction. So the continuous conduction or discontinuous conduction will come from this point, okay. So as we are discussing about discontinuous conduction, okay, so the second interval will end till beta. What is beta? Beta is the angle at which the energy in the inductor will become 0. Okay, so the energy will become 0. So when the energy becomes 0, what do you find out is that till it becomes 0, then I will take another point here, beta. This is point beta. It's very important. We are discussing about the discontinuous conduction. So everyone know this thing, that what is discontinuous conduction? Discontinuous conduction in the sense the energy in the inductor will die, or the energy in the inductor will become 0 even before you give the firing angle to the second thyristor. Okay, so it will become 0. If it is continuous conduction, then the energy will be forever. So or you cannot say forever, the energy will be there uh, till you give the thyristor, till you fire the thyristor number 2. So that will not happen in case of the discontinuous conduction. Okay. So now, so at beta, what will happen at beta? So at beta, the current in the armature or the energy in this particular path will become zero. So the current will become zero. When the current becomes zero, the freewheeling diode will be turned off. The freewheeling diode will be turned off. Okay. So then we will draw another interval now. Third interval. So the third interval will start. Okay. The third interval will start. Which point it will start? So
Pi plus alpha.
yeah, pi plus alpha. That's correct. So because at beta it becomes zero, so then it will remain there as zero. So then I will say this thing that okay. So yes, it's correct. So interval, third interval. That's correct. Okay. So you have to start from pi plus alpha. Pi plus alpha. So or I can say this thing to you that but beta to pi plus alpha, what will happen? That's correct. That it end at this point. So I would like to know what will happen. Omega 2. I'm sorry. See, the second interval will end at beta. Now I want to start from beta. The third interval will start from beta pi plus alpha. Yeah, this point I'm interested here now. Okay, from beta, what will happen? That is the thing which I'm interested now. So because at beta, what we came to know at beta, the energy in the inductor will become zero. That is what will happen. So when the energy in the inductor becomes zero, okay. So what will happen when the energy in the inductor becomes zero? That circuit diagram we will draw first. Okay. So then we will go ahead with that. Okay. So I will draw the circuit diagram here. So now I will write here just for purpose. FD is off. Why FD is off? Because at beta the current I will become zero. So I will write here also the IA is equal to zero now. So IA is equal to zero. So FD, because current is zero in the diode, in this sense diode will be off. So then what is circuit diagram? It looks now. The circuit diagram will looks like this. Okay. Now see here, this circuit diagram, this equivalent circuit diagram will be somewhat little bit different. So EB. Now remember, the motor is still running. That's the logic here. So here IA is zero. IA is zero. And the voltage here is VA, armature voltage. And now what you will understand from this third interval, what you will understand is that IA becomes zero, but the motor is still running. How do you say motor is still running? Because motor has some inertia. Everyone knows this thing. You turn off the supply to the fan also, then you see that the fan will still run because it has some inertia. So the motor is still running. It cannot, the speed of the motor cannot become zero immediately. So it is still running. So there is some back EMF is there. So this point is the thing you must keep in mind when you think about the third interval. Okay. So plus minus EB is there. IA is zero. And freewheeling diode is off. So I replace the short circuit with open circuit. Then what is the armature voltage here from this? Can I say the armature voltage is same as EB? Because you just see the KVL here. You apply KVL directly. So VA is equal to EB. It becomes. So the armature voltage is nothing but the back EMF this time. And this back EMF goes on decrease. This back EMF goes on decrease. Okay. So this is the third interval. So now the third interval will end at pi plus alpha. So what will happen at pi plus alpha? At pi plus alpha. Okay. So fourth interval. Yeah, we can take any number of intervals. So the fourth interval will start from pi plus alpha, omega t less than or equal to. Now at pi plus alpha, what exactly you are doing here in the circuit diagram at pi plus alpha? At pi plus alpha, you are firing thyristor number 2. So as you fire thyristor number 2, okay, it's better I will bring this picture this side so that you will easily understand. Yeah, just look at this. Have a look at this. So at pi plus alpha, at pi plus alpha, so at pi plus alpha, you are firing tyrosine number 2. So when you fire tyrosine number 2, what do you expect now? When you fire tyrosine number 2, so tyrosine number 2 will conduct, okay, and along with that D1 will conduct. So I will say T2, okay, T2 will conduct. Then it takes a path through the motor, okay, motor. Then after motor, it will take through D1, not D2 this time. It is D1. So D1 will conduct. So when D1 is conducting, once again, what do you find out? The same procedure which has happened in interval number one will be repeated. There is no other doubt. So the fourth interval, I can say this thing that the fourth interval is just a repetition of interval number one, because interval number one, the diode T1, D2 are conducting. So when T1, D2 are conducting, then the current in the motor is there from the supply. Our supply is connected. Otherwise, I will draw the circuit diagram here once again. The equivalent circuit diagram. What is the equivalent circuit diagram? Interval in fourth interval, we'll draw now. Okay, so resistor, inductor, there's a motor. Okay, so here the supply voltage, here the armature voltage is, so this IA. Now IA is there. Why IA is there? Because you are conducting T2 and D1. So then you have the supply. Once again, supply voltage is same as, our armature voltage is same as the supply voltage, because T1, D2. So whenever the switches are conducting, always remember this. We have discussed already in the power electronics course also, that when the switches are conducting, the output voltage of the converter is very same as the input voltage of the converter. So the output voltage here is VA, input voltage is VS. So VS is equal to VA. Then the current is flowing in this direction once again. Once again, same direction the current is flowing. Now this equivalent circuit diagram is same as the equivalent circuit diagram in interval number one. Just check this. Just check this. So you got the same. You got the same here. Okay. So the same procedure, that once again this Vs will be more than EB. So here this time I will write here VA is more than VB. VA is more than EB. Okay. That case also we have considered. So the interval 4 will be the repetition of interval number 1. That's it. So there is no other thing, okay, that is left. So it will continue, okay, like the next interval, second interval, third interval, like this it will continue. So from there itself, once again, you have all these procedures. Okay. So these are the three intervals actually we have to concentrate in the discontinuous conduction mode. Okay. Now I am interested to draw the waveform now. To draw the waveform. Okay. I want to complete the waveform of VA. There's a thing it is left now. So VA. So from pi to B, from pi to beta, what is from pi to beta in this interval, what is VA? VA is 0. So I make it as 0. Okay. I will take pi plus alpha somewhere. Okay. This is pi plus alpha. So from beta to pi plus alpha, it is a discontinuity. So there is no current in the motor. So in that case, what is the equivalent circuit I have drawn? This is the equivalent circuit. So in this equivalent circuit, what is VA? VA is same as EB. What is EB? EB is the back EMF. So EB is the back EMF. It has some voltage. It has some voltage. Okay. So that voltage, how can I now, is the voltage EB is constant or it's a variable one? Once again, EB is constant or variable? Constant? That's a question we have to ask ourselves. Why we have to ask ourselves is that because we want to draw the waveform of VA. In the third interval, VA is equal to EB. This one we got. VA is equal to EB we got in the third interval. Okay, in the third interval, VA is equal to EB. Now what is EB? Is EB a constant or EB a variable one? The question is that EB a constant or EB a variable. I will say that EB is a variable. Why I will say EB is a variable is that, you see here, in the third interval, the current in the motor is 0. So when the current in the motor is 0, it is nothing but turning off the supply to the motor. So when you turn off the supply to the motor, everyone know this thing that the speed of the motor will go on decrease. So when the speed of the motor go on decrease, the back EMF, which depends on the speed of the motor, also decrease. So EB is not constant. EB is a decreasing one. So EB is a voltage which is decreasing. So I will draw in the third interval between beta to pi plus alpha, I will draw a shape. Okay. So that shape is something like this. This is the shape, and it decreases. You see here, I have done. Okay, we'll just take a line here. Okay, this is EB. Then from EB it decreases. It decreases. Yeah, I have. So I have drawn. See, there is a falling curve I have drawn here till pi plus alpha. So at pi plus alpha, what do you do once again? At pi plus alpha, you give the firing angle to the second thyristor. So when you give the firing angle to the second thyristor, when thyristors are conducting, everyone know this thing that the output voltage is same as the supply voltage of the converter. So what is the supply voltage? Of course, this is a negative of that. So when it is a negative of that, find out this waveform. Okay, this waveform you will find out. Okay, so it's a repetition of that. So then I will complete this part here. How can I complete this part here? The first part is that same as the second part. Just it's a image. This image, okay. Yes, we got this waveform. Now this is the output voltage waveform. So you have in the output voltage waveform, okay, in this entire operation of the discontinuous conduction mode of your DC separately excited motor, you have three intervals. First interval is from uh, uh, this is the first interval, that is alpha to pi. That is the first interval. So in this interval, this is the equivalent circuit diagram. So from this equivalent circuit diagram, we know what is the voltage here. The voltage is same as the supply voltage, because VA is equal to VS. So I have drawn the supply voltage. Second interval is that between pi to beta. In this case, the energy in the inductor gets discharged through the freewheeling diode. So in that case, what is output voltage? The output voltage is zero, because it's a freewheeling diode is conducting. So it's zero. Now the third interval, that is after the energy becomes totally zero and you did not trigger the thyristor number 2 till, so that small duration, that is between beta to pi plus alpha, that's the third interval. In the third interval, the current in the motor is zero, but still the motor is running and its speed goes on decreases. So the back EMF decreases, and the supply and the output voltage of the converter, or the input voltage to the motor, that is the armature voltage, is same as your back EMF, because you apply KVL and there is no current here, then VA it becomes VB. And that waveform also we have drawn, and I have shown that that waveform is a decreasing waveform, because EB decreases as the speed of the motor decreases when there is no current in the motor. So then the cycle repeats once again. So this is briefly the operation of your separately excited DC motor. It is the operation of separately excited DC motor from a single phase semi controlled converter in all the three possible intervals. Now every interval we will derive some mathematical equation. That is the next job we are going to do now. Okay, so okay, now you see here, we'll go to the first interval. Already we have drawn the equivalent circuit for every interval, then it is easier for us. So yeah, the first interval, apply KVL in this closed path. So if you apply KVL in this closed path, then VA is nothing but VS. What is VS? VS is nothing but it's a sinusoidal supply you are giving here. See, VS is the sinusoidal supply. VS is equal to VM sin omega t. That is the supply voltage which you are giving to your converter. So VS is VM sin. So apply KVL here, then you will find out VM sin omega t. VM sin omega t is equal to, yeah, this is RA, this is LA. So RA into IA plus LA d IA by dt plus EB. Yeah, this is the equation you will get here. So you got a first order differential equation. So if you got the first order differential equation, how do you solve the first? So now we'll do one thing, that this EB better will send to other side. Then the circuit becomes like this: RA IA. The equation becomes like this: RA IA d IA by dt is equal to VM sin omega t minus EB. So this is the this is the equation we got here. So we got this equation. So this is a first order differential equation. So for the first order differential equation, so how do you solve is that the same procedure which we have followed earlier and which everyone solve for the differential equation approach. That is first you go for general solution, then you go for particular solution. So these two you'll find out one by one. Then if you find out one by one, then we can add at the end. So what is the general solution first? The general solution first here is that, okay, so to find out the general solution, the basic procedure which you follow is that you'll take the differential equation RA IA plus LA DIA by DT is equal to 0. This is how you proceed for the general solution, because remaining two Vm sin omega t minus EB, they are exciting functions. So if you solve this differential equation, okay, then the general solution will be like this. Yeah, so I'm directly writing the solution here. Some constant k1 into e power minus r RA by LA into T. This is the solution you will get. Now we will simplify this solution further. K1 e power minus RA by omega LA into omega T. We can write like this. Then we will simplify this further. So K1 e power. Now what is RA by omega LA? Because this is a RL circuit. Okay, it is a RL circuit. So as it is a RL circuit, for RL circuit, that is R and L, because you see here only RL is there in the general solution, so only R and L. So for R and L, what is the uh, formula for the tan phi formula is that omega L by R or XL by R. So this is the formula for the tan phi. Now here it is a reverse of tan phi, that is it is R by omega L. So for omega L by R, it is tan phi. For R by omega L is nothing but cot phi you will get. So I will write here minus cot phi into omega t. So this is the expression we got for the general solution. Okay. Now what about the particular solution now? So particular solution, if you examine this equation, first order differential equation, you have you have two excitations. One excitation is sinusoidal excitation, the other excitation is the DC excitation. So you will get two particular solutions. Just like you apply the superposition principle. If you apply superposition principle, then one case it is sinusoidal excitation, the other case it is DC, that is minus EB. Okay, so we will find out separately both the responses, both the particular solutions we will find out. So I want to tell here is that you have two particular solutions. One particular solution is because of this sinusoidal function. The other particular solution is because of the DC. So both the particular solutions we will find out individually. Then at the end we add algebraically, so that you will get the total particular solution. So, well, first we will see the particular solution number one. Particular solution number one is because of Vm sin omega t. So you are giving a sinusoidal supply to a series RL circuit. You are giving a sinusoidal supply to a series RL circuit. This is RL, and you are giving, okay, this is V of t. Then what is the current function we will get? Because we are finding out the current function, because that is the variable here in the differentiator. So this is IA, I will say IA, general solution of IA. So then what is the particular solution of IA here? Because you want to find out the current here, IA1. So when everyone know this thing very well, that the particular solution here you will get directly, I will write here that IA1, okay, is Vm by square root of R square plus omega L whole square into sine of omega t minus phi. What is phi here? Phi is tan inverse of omega L by R. So this is for RL circuit. Same here also is there, except in place of R you have RA, in place of L you have LA. So I will just add that here. RA, LA. So wherever you find out RA, LA. Okay. And whereas phi is omega LA by RA. So this you got. So we got one particular solution directly because we have this formula ready made. Okay. And second particular solution, that is minus EB. It is because of minus EB. So now you imagine yourself. Okay. So you have a resistor, you have inductor, you are giving a supply here, DC supply. So when you give DC supply, what is the steady state current here? In the steady state, the inductor will get short circuited. So only resistor is left. So this is minus EB, and this is RA, and this is LA. So what is the current here? IA2. IA2 current in steady state, because this is steady state part. Why I'm saying? Because particular solution is nothing but the steady state part. So the inductor will get short circuited in the steady state part. So what is the current here left? IA2. IA2 can be written as minus EB by RA. That's it. So we got both the particular solution number one, particular solution number two. Whereas here we got the general solution. Here you got the general solution. So what is the total solution now? Particular solution plus general solution. So general solution I will write now. So the total solution now IA, I will write here IA is equal general solution. What is general solution? We got K1 e power minus cot phi omega t plus particular solution number one. Yeah, better I will write that as Vm by Z. What is Z here? Z is square root of. So this I am representing as Z. Z. Okay. Sine omega t minus pi minus. Yeah, second solution is EB by RA. Yes, this is the equation we got for the general solution. But one important thing is that there is one unknown is there. K1 is there. This is important. So we have to replace K1. What is K1 here? How to replace K1? We can replace K1 by knowing initial conditions of IA. Initial conditions of IA. If we know the initial conditions of IA, we can easily find out what is K1. So now, okay, now one important thing is that what is the initial conditions of IA? Then we'll go ahead with the circuit diagram here, with the main circuit diagram. You see yourself in the main circuit diagram. Okay. So IA will be 0. IA, because discontinuity will be there till alpha. I will say this thing that you see here, just it's a only recalling of the waveform. What is the operation? Once again, we'll say here. The operation is that from alpha to pi, thyristor T1 D2 diode will conduct. So because of that, there will be current in the armature. So after that interval, we'll go to second interval. That is from pi to beta. From pi to beta, there will be current in the motor because the energy in the inductor will circulate through the freewheeling diode. So after beta, what do you find out? After beta, you will find out till pi plus alpha, there won't be any current. So at pi plus alpha, there is no current. Similarly, at alpha, there is no current in the armature. This is the logic. So at pi plus alpha, there won't be any current in the armature, or there won't be any current in the inductor. Similarly, at alpha, there won't be any current because the cycle repeats from pi plus alpha. So alpha from pi plus alpha, the cycle repeats once again because this is a rectifier. So rectifier in the sense the frequency will be double of the supply. So at alpha or at pi plus alpha, and at pi plus alpha, the current IA is 0. That is the initial condition we will take here. So I will write the initial condition here. Simple initial condition I will write here, that at omega t is equal to alpha, IA is equal to 0. This is the initial condition we will use and we will substitute here. Then 0 is equal to K1 e power minus cot phi into alpha. Okay. So yeah, plus Vm by Z sine alpha minus pi minus EB by RA. So this is the equation we got. So from here, what we are going to find out is that what is K1, how to find out K1. So then we'll do one thing. All these things will send towards left hand side. So, or we'll take this towards right hand side. So what you will get here is that, okay, just uh, check this yourself. Okay, so K1 e power minus alpha into cot phi is equal to EB by RA minus VM by Z sine alpha minus pi. Okay. Yeah, what is K1 from this? You send this e power minus alpha cot pi towards right hand side. So if you do that, then EB by RA minus Vm by Z into sine alpha minus pi. Okay, sine alpha minus pi, you multiply with e power alpha into cot pi. It's a mathematical simplification. So from here, from here onwards, okay. So we will know easily. So substitute this K1 there in the first equation, this IA equation. Then we will know what is IA. Okay, so we will got IA value. So then once we got IA, this is for the first interval. This is for the first interval. Now we will start with the second interval. Second interval is, yeah, here is your second interval. You see here now. In the second interval, we have already drawn the circuit diagram. So it is very easier for us to go ahead. So now apply KVL in this. Apply KVL. So if you apply KVL in this, what you will get the answer is that 0 is equal to RA IA plus LA DIA by DT plus EB. This you will get here. From this, yeah, it is once again a first order differential equation. RA IA plus LA DIA by DT is equal to minus EB. So this is your first order differential equation. So how do you solve once again? Once again, same procedure that you take the general solution, then you take the particular solution. To find out the general solution, what you will do? RAIA plus LA DIA by DT is equal to 0. You make it as 0. So then what is the solution for the, what is the solution here? IA? IA is equal to, yeah, some constant you will get. Let me take that as K2 e power minus, yeah, we'll write directly here because the same kind of differential equation we solved here. Just see the left side. That's it. So just see the left side, then you will get the answer here. So cot phi omega t. This you will get. Only except in this case it is K1 and remaining everything is same. Okay. Now what about the particular solution now? Particular solution is now this time. The particular solution is, say here you have only one forcing function this time. There is no sinusoidal supply. Only one forcing function, that is minus EB. So when minus EB is the forcing function, that also we have done already. What is that? Just see this now. This circuit diagram. This one. No, sorry, not this one. Not this one, sorry. Yeah. This one. This one already we did here. That the forcing function is minus EB. Then what is the function IA? You got minus EB by RA. You'll write here minus EB by RA. It's only repetition. Minus EB by RA. So it is a general solution. Whereas IA is equal to minus EB by RA. It is particular solution. See, it's only mathematics. Nothing. You don't need to worry about that. You have to see this equation, then you will get. Then what is the total solution now? IA is equal to K2 e power minus cot phi into omega t minus EB by RA. This is the total solution for the second interval. Now, once again, you have one problem here. What is the problem you will face is that what is K2? How to find out K2 here? Once again, we will see the initial conditions. Initial conditions of IA. Now, initial condition in the sense it's very important. Okay. What is the initial condition here is that, what is the initial condition here? The initial condition here, you must know this thing that because this has started, this interval has started from where? The interval has started from pi. So you will take pi as the initial current. So what is Ia of pi? What is Ia of pi? So that is the initial current for the second interval. So what is, how do you find out Ia of pi? Then we will go to the first interval. In the first interval, we got one equation for Ia. This is the equation for Ia we got. Let me round off here. Okay. This is the Ia in the first interval. So in this interval, you substitute omega t is equal to pi. If you substitute omega t is equal to pi, whatever the answer you got here, that answer is nothing but Ia of pi. So I will write here Ia of pi. So this is Ia of pi. Okay. So if you want, we'll find out, we'll do that at the end. But first, remember it is Ia of pi. So I will say this thing that, okay, at omega t is equal to pi, at omega t is equal to pi, Ia of pi we know. How we know Ia of pi? We know Ia of pi from the first interval. Okay, then we'll substitute in this equation. Then Ia of pi is equal to k2 e power minus, because omega t substitute pi, got phi minus EB by RA. Then what is K2 from this now? K2 from this you can easily find out. I will write directly this time. K2 is equal to Ia of pi plus EB by RA into e power pi cot phi. That's it. So we got we got here K2. Then substitute K2 in the first equation. That's it. One equation is this equation. Which equation? This equation. Yeah. So we only interested to find out. So that's it. Then you will get Ia. So we till now we find out Ia. Till now we find out Ia in all the two cases. Now third case. What is Ia in the third case? Third case you don't need to find out anything because it is already zero. You see here in the third interval Ia is 0. So that's over. The third interval is also over. So the third interval which you must understand here is Ia is 0. Then there is no other interval left here. Okay. So then okay. So you find out Ia in all the three intervals. Now we want to know what is VA, average VA average. We want to find out VA because you see here in the first interval, what is VA? In the first interval, VA is same as VS. Second interval, VA is 0. Third interval, VA is equal to EB. So better I will write here. So VA is equal to VS. First interval. What is that interval? First interval? Alpha less than equal to omega less than equal to pi. VA is equal to 0 in the second interval because freewheeling diode is conducting. So yeah, pi less than or equal to omega t less than or equal to beta. Okay. The third interval, what is VA here? We find out. See the third interval. It is EB. Yes, EB. So beta less than or equal to omega t less than or equal to pi plus alpha. That's it. So these are the three values of VA in all the three intervals. Then what is the average value? I want to find out the average. VA average. So how to find out VA average? We will find out the formula 1 by time period. What is the time period of the output voltage here? The time period of the output voltage here, where is that? Yeah, this is the VA value. The output the average value or the time period of this is, I will write it as pi. Why it is pi? Because the cycle repeated after pi. So pi. So 1 by pi, integral 0 to time period pi. Okay. So see, I just now you have seen that only two elements are there. Only two elements are there. The third interval, the VA is 0. So that value we will not worry. So okay. Then we will divide into parts. 1 by pi. Now three parts we can divide. Second part is anyhow 0. So integration alpha to pi. It is Vs. So Vs is nothing but Vm sine omega t. Okay. Sine omega t d omega t plus integration beta to pi plus alpha. Yes, pi plus alpha. It is Eb d of omega t. Yeah, this is your average value of VA. Okay. See, and everything we are doing in case of uh, discontinuous conduction. So VA average is equal to, okay. So Vm by pi. Yeah, what is the integration of sine here? You will get cos, minus cos you will get here. So Vm by pi minus cos omega t. The limits are alpha to pi, okay, plus Eb by pi, because this pi is there, it comes here. So integration of d omega t is omega t. So you substitute the values from beta to pi plus alpha. Okay, then then uh, VA average is equal to, yeah, what is cos pi here? It is minus 1, so minus minus it becomes plus. So it is, and once again there is a minus is there, so minus minus, so Vm by pi, what you will get here? So cos of pi is minus minus of 1 minus 1 plus cos alpha, yeah, 1 plus cos alpha. So it becomes 1 plus cos alpha plus 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 Eb by pi. What you will get here? You will get here is that pi plus alpha minus beta. That's it. So this is the expression. We got the expression for VA average. This is the expression for the average output voltage.